Good evening to all of you. Today we will be discussing about this Buddhist literature. Look, whatever knowledge we have regarding Buddhism, being as an aspirant of civil services, it is either based upon the R.S. Sharma, or if you are a little more advanced, then you can go for a different book that is written by Romila Thapar. But the reality is that from where these people got the knowledge regarding Buddhism, how they are so sure that Buddha talked about this eightfolded path, he told about the Four Noble Truths and all these things. In order to understand this enigma, we can divide these Buddhist scriptures in two parts. Those are called the canonical one, and the other ones are the non-canonical. Canonical are those scriptures which are the words or the things exactly told by the Buddha. Whereas the non-canonicals are those sources or those Buddhist scriptures, those are either the commentary based upon the canonical one, or they are the interpretations, those are based upon the canonical one. Canonical are also the sources which you can say the most genuine, authentic, you can, if I may put in this way, the official version of the Buddhism. So from here the knowledge regarding Buddhism, which whatever is known in the world regarding Buddhism, because look, these people did not go in the 5th or 6th century BC to have a dialogue with Buddha. We have these sources, and on the basis of these sources we can get a pretty good amount of knowledge what Buddha was thinking at that time and what kind of society Buddha wanted to have. The examples of the canonical, those are highly famous one, as these are also known as the basket, called the Tripitaka. Tripitaka. And we all know that these Tripitaka, as the word three represents the three, so they will be three, starting with the Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, and the third one is Dhamma Pitaka. These are the official versions of the Buddhism. I will be discussing what is given inside these suttas, vinayas and abhidhammas. The non-canonical ones, you can take the example like the conversation which happens between the Nagarjuna and Milinda Pahno. His name was Milind, but the name of the scripture was Milind Panho. You can also take the other example, one scripture written by Buddha Ghosa, that is called Visuddhi Marga. Visuddhi Marga, the path of purity, written by Buddha Ghosa. You may have also heard the Deepvansa and Mahavansa. Deepvansa and Mahavansa. So many non-canonical scriptures are there. Those are either commentary or in the interpretations based upon these the genuine and the most accepted versions of the Buddhism philosophy. So as far as the Sutta Pitaka is concerned, so Sutta Pitaka is also known as the Buddha's Vachana. It is also called Buddha Vachana. So if these are Buddha Vachanas, so certainly these will be the things, those are exactly told by the Buddhas. And this Sutta Pitaka can be further divided, let me tell you, in 5 parts. For instance, the one is Anguttara Nikaya. Samyukta Nikaya, Digha Nikaya, Digha means big, Majjhima Nikaya, Majjhima means middle one, and one more is there. You can think about it later on. So this Sutta Pitaka can further be divided in 5 these parts, and every part has a unique information regarding Buddhism philosophy. Non-canonical ones, they are, you can say, the bulk production of the non-canonical scriptures related to Buddhism is based upon the monks of the Sri Lanka, or Sri Lankan monks produced the bulk amount of the non-canonical scriptures. Vinaya Pitaka, as we all know that inside Vinaya Pitaka, the monastic rules are given. Monastic rules means if you are living in that community, what kind of things you are supposed to do and you are not supposed to do. This Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka, they were composed in the first Buddhist council, which happens in the 483 BC, which was presided by Mahakashyapa, and the ruler at that time was Ajatasattu. So during the first Buddhist council, this Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka were compiled. Sutta Pitaka, as I have told you, it is known as the Buddha's Vachana, and the Vinaya Pitaka, you can say it's a law book of Buddhism. Law book. What kind of things are given, let me tell you, so that you could get a little better clarity over this Vinaya Pitaka. With respect to, as you know, the bhikshu were there and the bhikshunis used to be there. So with respect to this bhikshu and bhikshuni, what kinds of rules and regulations a bhikshu and a bhikshuni has to follow. The one thing which is given within this Vinaya Pitaka, that a bhikshu who is a male member was not allowed to preach the Buddhism philosophy, or you can say the anything which is related to the Buddhism. The bhikshu was not supposed to tell more than 6 sentences to any bhikshuni. More than 6 sentences to any bhikshuni until and unless the bhikshuni herself is asking any question related to that. It's not like, it happens in Gadi Vihar in Mukherjee. Boys and girls are sitting in the park and continuously boy kept on teaching for 3 or sometimes even by evening. Because the science says that if you continuously have the eye contact with an opposite sex within a minute, the love hormones starts generated or starts, it gets started, the secretion of it starts happening. So Buddha was already having this kind of idea. That's why he told that as long as the bhikshuni is raising or asking something related to which you are telling based upon the Dhamma, you were not supposed to tell more than 6 sentences. This was a sort of thing, this was a rule, so that they could develop a discipline between the bhikshu and a bhikshuni. The celibacy was highly significant. It was supposed to be followed by both of them. Other than this, a bhikshu was not allowed to walk or go with a bhikshuni to any different village as long as there is not involved any kind of danger or any tiger or these kinds of animals. This kind of a fear factor is involved. So these were some of the rules. By the way, this was the rule related to or in context to bhikshu and bhikshuni. The other rules, like when you should wake up, what you should eat, when you should sleep, what you should do and what you should not do in order to develop a discipline while living in that monastic order. So these were the things given within the Vinaya Pitaka. The main thing which you need to remember that this Vinaya Pitaka was the law book of the Buddhism philosophy. The last one was the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Abhidhamma Pitaka, it was compiled in the Third Buddhist Council, which took place, I think, in the 250 BC, if I am not wrong. 250 BC. This Third Buddhist Council. Third Buddhist Council, I think it happened in 250. Anyway, if it is factually incorrect, you can...
383.
The 483 was the first, 383 was the second, and I think 250 BC, the Third Buddhist Council took place, which happens where? Rajgriha Vaisalian in the Pataliputra. The first one which was held in Rajgriha in Pataliputra, and the ruler of that time was Asoka, and Moggalliputta was the president. So Moggalliputta compiled this Abhidhamma Pitaka. Abhidhamma Pitaka is the, you can say, the basket that contains the things, those are highly philosophical in nature. Metaphysics of Buddhism is involved or placed within this Abhidhamma Pitaka. I will be discussing further about this Abhidhamma Pitaka in my coming lectures. Whenever I discuss Buddhism, I always discuss that a story related to the woman who was trying to cross the river, and one boy who was the follower of Buddhism was there, and he took the woman into his arm and helped her to cross the river. Alright, so these the Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. One more thing which I want to tell you, and that is related to the 3 school of thought of Buddhism. The Mahayana, Hinayana and the Vajrayana. Vajrayana. these three schools of thought of Buddhism, how they were different from each other and when they got developed. So as far as this look, Hinayana, it is, you can say, the most original yana of Buddhism. What Buddha really wanted, that if anything is close to that vision of Buddha, that is the Hinayana school of thought, because they never accepted Buddha as a god. Obviously, the whole Buddhism is against the god, whether it is Buddhism or it is the Jainism. They never accepted anything as a god. They were the complete, the atheist religion. But what happens in Mahayana, the person who sacrificed his life just to tell to the people, to the world, that there is no existence of God, there is no existence of God, this Mahayana declared that person as a god. The same thing was about to happen with Mahatma Gandhi ji, but somehow this problem was resolved. So this happened. In Mahayana, they started believing Buddha as a god. This was the first one. Okay. And the, you can say, the dividation happens in Mahayana and Hinayana. In which Buddhist council? It happens in 4th Buddhist council.
Kundalavan.
Yes. Which happens, I think, in the 1st century BC in Kundalwan, Kashmir. Kanishka
AD
was the ruler at that time. So, by the way, do you have any idea Kanishka was the follower of which? Mahayana or Hinayana?
Mahayana.
And Ashoka? Ashok.
Ashok भी महायान का.
Ashok was the follower of Hinayana. Harsha was also the follower of this Mahayana. So you can say Ashoka was more close to the core of Buddhism philosophy. Because this Hinayana did not accept Buddha as a god. They worshipped the symbols of the Buddhism. For instance, they were worshipping the Bodhi tree. They were worshipping the swastik symbol. They were worshipping, the river. Or these kinds of, basically the symbols were being worshipped by the followers of the Hinayana, whereas Mahayana, they started the idol worship, the statue worship, which was completely against this Hinayana. As far as this Vajrayana is concerned, so let me tell you that the development of Vajrayana happens in the 8th century in the northeast India. But by the time it reaches to 11th century, it spreads in its viral form in the Tibetan region. That's why this Vajrayana is also known as the Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetan Buddhism. And this Vajrayana, the core philosophy of the Vajrayana, you can understand, the Vajrayana believes in two kinds of knowledge. The one knowledge which can be perceived through your senses. The fire is hot, or the sunlight has heat, the ice is cold, the air or the wind is blowing, the water is chilled or hot. You can observe by using through your 5 senses. But there is a different knowledge that is known as the ultimate knowledge according to the Vajrayana. That knowledge can never be perceived as long as you are being the part of moksha, or you are getting enlightenment in your life. So this Vajrayana, which we witness in the Tibet region mainly. By the way, look, this Hinayana is witnessed, or it is experienced in the countries like Burma, Thailand, Philippines. Where is this Mahayana is concerned, it is more visible in the countries like China and Japan.
Sri Lanka.
And Vajrayana, as I have told, mainly it is experienced in Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, so on and so forth. Other than this, I was discussing about this Mahayana. This Mahayana can further be divided in two parts. The one is called the Madhyamika Nikaya, and the second one is Yogacharya. Okay, so Madhyamika and the Yogacharya. Look, Yogacharya, it talks that what actually, the core philosophy of Yogacharya, that this world which you are experiencing right now, you are standing and you're thinking, they say that the world does not exist in reality. It's a dream. It's a dream. When you get enlightenment, then you will understand the ultimate reality of this whole cosmos. So they did not accept world as reality. They think that it exists in our dream. It is our dream. It is our dream, the world. This Madhyamika, the propounder of the Madhyamika is Nagarjuna. And he gave a philosophy, or you can say that is called the Sunyavada. Okay, Sunyavada. So what is this Sunyavada? I will be discussing in a very, very brief manner. After that, I will wind up the class. So this Yogacharya, this was founded by whom? This was founded by a person, actually there were two brothers. The one was known as Asanga, okay, and one more person was there. They founded this Yogacharya, which believed that the world is a dream. This, what this Sunyavada is, I mean, we have heard many more number of times, the Sunyavada of Nagarjuna, What actually this Sunyavada is? Any idea? Any idea whatsoever what this Sunyavada is?
Theory of relativity.
No, theory of relativity is a different thing. Theory of relativity, you can say, we call it Nagarjuna as a second Einstein, or Einstein is called as the second Nagarjuna. Look, Sunyavada, I will give one example. If you are accidentally coming across a snake, you are going, let's assume, with Dr. Prem Prakash, okay, the very well-known writer, and the person who has almost completed 4 languages of the United Nations. So let's assume you are going to the bank of river Yamuna and you suddenly come across a snake. What is the first thing which will come into your mind? Look, there may be so things, but I'm making your problem a little simpler. You will certainly think that a snake is a poisonous species. Will you think about it or not? A snake, the poison is the first thing which will come into your mind. That's why you will try to go or change your route as soon as it is possible. The same snake which is poisonous for you, if you are going to any portion in northeast India, and if they are saying the same snake, the poison will not be the first thing which will come into their mind. They may think, oh, what a delicious dish it is, as they eat the snake. Or if you don't want to accept with respect to these northeast people, you can take the example in the Centralese Islands somewhere in Andaman and Nicobar. Or in other parts, at least there are so many people or some tribal communities who eat this snake, no matter how poisonous it is. So the first thing, you being a North Indian, the snake, as you see, the first thing came as it's a poisonous species. The same snake, when it was seen by any tribal person, he realized, oh, what a
Food.
yes, delicious and mind-blowing food it is. I was hungry for last 2 or 3 days. The same snake, when it comes in the contact of a snake charmer, he will neither think about the food article this snake is, nor he will think about the poison. He will think that, oh, I have got a different resource, through that I can earn more money, as it will increase the number of the snakes in my basket, and the people will gravitate it towards me, and they might give me little more money, which I was getting when I was not having these many numbers of snakes. The same snake, if you are going to somewhere in African countries, believe me, they may accept the same snake as a toy. As a toy. My question is, what actually the reality is? Is the snake a toy? Or the snake a food article? Or the snake a poisonous animal? Or the snake any medium to earn the money? What actually the reality is? Nagarjuna was trying to solve this enigma, and he told that it happens in everything. We human beings apply the false layer upon a subject. And if you want to understand the philosophy of Sunyavada, then you have to remove the false layers which you have placed over that snake. Because the snake is neither a food article, the snake is neither a poisonous species, the snake is neither a toy, and the snake is neither a resource to earn the money. What actually the snake is? Nagarjuna told that if you keep on removing these layers of ignorance which you have placed over the snake, you will come to a position where you will not be able to remove any layer, because there will be no any further layer be remaining. And that will be the true essence, that will be the true knowledge what actually the snake is. You will reduce to the zero. And that was the Sunyavad of Nagarjuna, where you have to remove the ready-made layers or the false layers which you placed because of your ignorance over the snake. Or you can take any example. You can take the example of the river Yamuna. We call it, oh, the flood took place. No, this is not the flood. The problem is that we human beings, we destroyed the forest, we cut the forest, and we built up their houses very close to the river. The river, it's a very natural thing, natural phenomena. When the rain occurs, something will happen to the river. So the river, it's going in its natural path. But we human beings have given the name called flood for our own convenience, because we think that the whole world is governed having the human being in the center. The apple which you purchased yesterday from the market, it may be fresh by today, but after a week it will get rotten up, and you will say that, oh, it's rotten, it is not good enough for my consumption. Believe me, that apple is rotten if you have the human on the backdrop. But believe me, the same rotten apple can be more tastier for a different species, it may be a bacteria, it may be a parrot, or it may be any other animal. So what actually the reality is the apple is rotten? So rotten is word coming in existence when you have the human as a reference point. Nagarjuna, I'm not going in detail. I just want to say that Nagarjuna, with the help of the Sunyavada, tried to tell the people that you have to remove the layers of ignorance which you have placed over a subject. And if you are able to do this, then you are certainly the student of Nagarjuna. So this was as far as the Buddhist literatures were concerned. We will be taking some other important topics in our coming lectures. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.